Lighting is not my strong suit, and as you can tell from this setup here, I'm in my boring, gray, dreary club room in my apartment building, and I'm using my own lights just to light myself for the purposes of this video. But right over here, there's something very unique that I haven't used before in any of my setups. So I've got to give a shout out to Sirui today, because Sirui sent me both a 200 watt COB light as well as an 18 to 36 degree projector lens mount. And that's what I'm using to get this design on the back wall over here. A couple of ways that you could use this projector lens mount and the light are: one, if you're doing a live stream, as most of my audience members do, at live streaming events, we've usually got someone who's standing up at the front of the room at a podium and they're not lit, and being able to throw one of these in your kit is a huge add-on, because you can just pop up a light in the back of the room, turn on the light, attach this projector mount, which by the way is a Bowens mount, so it connects to practically every light that you might have in your kit, and then you're off to the races because you can light the person at the front of the room. Another way that you could use it is like I'm doing right now, just if you need some sort of creative backdrop or something different than what you normally do, or maybe you're in one of those really boring conference rooms or boardrooms where there's really no decor or anything on the walls to leverage here. Like right here, this is a very boring gray wall. There's like a light that's not even working. I tried to hide it behind my head there as best as I could, but this is a boring gray wall. So we needed to do something like add in a gobo with this projector lens mount to make it look really cool. So let's go over some of the unique features about this. I'm going to go over the key specs. There's two items here. There's a light and the projector lens mount. And then I want to show off some of the really cool things that came along with it. So first of all, projector lens. From Sirui, it's 18 to 36 degrees. That is adjustable. So that means that you can actually adjust the lens to be a wider throw of light or a shorter throw of light. It can be a really small circle or a large circle, and then it's got a focus knob on there, so you can tweak the focus, whether you want it to be like perfectly sharp and in focus with all these like really sharp edges around it, or like this one over here where it's a little bit softer, subtly out of focus. That's what I did on this one right here. It also comes with a cooling fan. So the light itself has a fan built in, but the lens, the projector lens mount has a magnetically attaching fan that you can recharge using USB-C, and then you just kind of like click it right onto the projector lens mount, which is really nifty and helps to keep that lens as cool as possible while it's in use. Now back here, I'm only at maybe 15 or 20 degrees brightness on the light, and the light's going to keep itself cool, but making sure that the projector lens mount itself doesn't overheat is a nice add-on feature, and it shows that Sirui really thought of everything when it comes to this device. The fact that it's USB-C rechargeable is actually really, really cool in my book, because you wouldn't have any other electronics where the projector lens itself connects to the light to be able to power that. So having something that's USB-C that I can just pull out of the case when I get back from a shoot and recharge real fast is really helpful there. A few other things about this. So one, it's very small. The projector lens mount itself is only 12 inches long, meaning it's only about a foot. It fits into a really nice compact case. And that leads me to my second huge point about this, which is that Sirui really thought of everything. That case is kind of like the really high quality nano cases when it comes to those locking latches. It's got the custom cut foam, so it fits both the lens mount as well as a red, blue, and yellow filter set for the lens. So I've got the blue filter on over here. It also holds tons of gobos that come with it and the gobo holder all in one case. Now the case doesn't hold the light, but that's to be expected, because if you're gonna put a light in the case, you wanna make sure that you can kind of separate it out. Like, it's a 200 watt light, so I could use that for my key or fill light for an average interview. So I might not always need to bring that projector lens mount with me when I'm on the go. So it's kind of nice that they leave those two separate, and you're not required to take the projector mount as well as the light in the same case. But the case is pretty darn compact, and definitely going to take care of protecting the projector lens mount as I'm bringing it with me. It comes with 15 gobos, and the projector itself has a 1/4-20 mount in case you wanted to add some additional support to keep it up. But as of right now, using this with their 200 watt light, I don't see any real need to add that extra support at this moment. So I think that it's really cool that they thought ahead and tried to include that with it, but not totally necessary in using it, especially in a case much like this shooting scenario. It includes the red, yellow, and blue filters. Those are 72mm filter thread, and those come with it. And then, of course, the rechargeable fan also comes with it as well. That is not an additional accessory. So for the price, my impressions, well, one, it's a really good build quality. It was really 10 seconds or so from getting it out of the case, mounted on the light, and turning the light on and going. So it's not a huge setup time. The case is high quality. They thought of putting in the exhaust fan to make sure that the projector mount stays as cool as possible. The fact that the Gobos come with it, the lens filters come with it, it's a really affordable price for everything that you're getting here without having to lug a gigantic case to get your 19mm lens or your 20mm lens or your 24, whatever it is that you're bringing with you. I know that for aperture and other lights, you've got to get the actual lens and change it out depending on the degrees that you want for the field of view of that light. With this one, that 18 to 36 is just adjustable, and it's just a rotation of the lens to get a larger or a smaller amount of light out of it. Now let's go into a couple of facts about the light itself. It's a 200-watt light. It's the CS200B. So it is bi-color. You can do both daylight and tungsten colors out of it. We've got 2700 to 6500 Kelvin color temperature range. We're measuring at about 7400 lux at 1 meter. So this is a very, very bright light that could be used, like I said, as a key light for interviews or anything else, but especially with that projector mount, it's going to let you throw light from a far distance if need be, or right here, the light's actually just a couple feet off camera, and that's how it's hitting that back wall back there. It's got a really high color accuracy. I know everyone's always concerned about making sure the color is accurate. We're at about a 96 CRI and a 98 TLCI. So really, really color accurate, especially in comparison to other lights on the market. There's some lighting effects. There's 12 of them built in. So things like flash, broken bulb, TV, pulse. I don't use those lighting effects in my work, but you know, for the creative filmmaker or someone making a narrative film, you've got the ability to use those. The Bowens mount. So Bowens is practically universal at this point with all of the different attachments that we can put on these lights. So it's great that this light is interchangeable with a lot of the other diffusion and attachments that I have for my aperture lights and my other light kits. So really excited to have that on here so things can just kind of get swapped around and I don't need to use any sort of adapters to get my modifier onto that Bowens mount. There's 3 fan modes, so there's no noise when the light is off, obviously, because it doesn't need to cool. At about 30% power, we're looking at 24 decibels of sound. And then at a power higher than that on the light, we're looking at about 28 decibels of sound. And then, of course, the light can be managed through an app. So you can control that light from your phone, or you can just use the knobs on the back of the light to control it. Now, as mentioned, the fan noise is going to be nothing when the light is off, of course. And it's not until you get to about 30% brightness where it's rated at 24 decibels. And just from sitting here next to it, it's pretty quiet. So let me turn it on for you. So the light itself is now on. You're obviously not seeing anything because it's at 0% brightness, but you'll hear there's nothing coming out. Nothing coming out. So let me bump this up. We're going to go to about 30% brightness, just over 30, because that's where the fan kicks in. And then let me put this up here so you can hear it. And actually, the fan hasn't even kicked in yet because it's at 50% brightness. There we go. Okay, so now I'm at 30% brightness. I'm going to put the mic right up next to the fan so you can hear it. I can hear it just being right next to it, but it's really not that loud. And that's with the mic being right on top of it. So, of course, you're not going to hear a whole lot of it here. Let me actually just stay quiet for a second. You really don't pick it up much. And then when you, of course, go to a much brighter option, like say 100% power, that's where it was rated somewhere in the 28 decibel range. So I'm going to put the mic right up to it, but again, it's relatively quiet for what it is. and then some silence with me just sitting here right next to the fan. So as you can tell, it's pretty darn quiet for what it is, and I would imagine if it's a couple of feet away from anything that you're recording, you're really not going to pick it up on your audio recording later. So my final thoughts on this. Well, one, having this is going to make shots like this much more creative. In fact, it's kind of inspiring me. Like I should have really picked a better background for this, but I'm kind of glad that I picked just an ugly gray wall to show you that there's some cool stuff that we can do back here. And that's just one of the Gobos that came with it. So we could easily change this out for something else, like imitating light coming through window shades or something like that. So all in all, I think really cool item and product to have on hand, but they really kind of thought of everything, right? You've got the protective case. It's really small and compact, easy to bring with you. The price is just right for the market, and the fact that it covers a wide range from 18 to 36 degrees, and you don't have to buy any other pieces to make that happen. The filters in the Gobos are slotted right into the case, so there's a space for them to come along with you. You don't have to like toss them in another bag. And I think the light itself is a pretty solid build quality, and I think it would compete with any other 200-watt light that's on the market right now. Now, I'm not gonna throw it through its paces, like use it out in the rain or something like that. I don't typically recommend doing that unless the manufacturer says that like a light is waterproofed or something like that. But I think for any inside controlled shoot, the light itself, the 200-watt light and the projector lens attachment is a huge addition to any videographer and filmmaker's toolkit. So if you want to grab one of these, check out the links below down in the description. I'll have links to both the light and the projector mount. See you next time.